Hey everybody, we are back and it is finally Grit Week 2025, 10 days of racing, and I just want to talk you through how I get my crit bike ready for 10 days of racing. Now, this doesn't matter as much if you ride your bike all the time, but I only ride this bike when training or racing, so I want to go through it, check all the bolts, and kind of walk through what I did to prep my bike for 2025 Grit. As it's my first race series since April in my broken collarbone, definitely did an in-depth look at all the bolts. I've had this bike apart a few times for different trips. Went to California, took it apart, put it back together, so I wanted to make sure that everything was ready to go. So the first thing we're going to start off with is take off your extra bottle cage. If you're running in a pro race, maybe you want to. Obviously, you're a pro race and you'll know what you're doing. But for most of the crits, you only need one bottle cage. Just makes the bike look cleaner and gets rid of unnecessary things to get caught on the bike. Next, I got my chain ready. Took my chain off. I freshly waxed it, which is why it's all not moving, very stiff. Silica wax, got ready to go. Make sure, for the love of God, use a fresh Master Link. If you don't use a Master Link and you're sprinting and putting out more power than you're used to, you might blow up your chain and fall off and crack your collarbone. Don't ask me how I know. It's very painful when your chain breaks and you fall off. So get your chain cleaned up and a fresh Master Link. Next, you want to wash your whole bike. This allows you to look closely at the bike, inspect it, and just get familiar with what everything's doing. So freshly washed this bike. Got rid of all the sweat stains and grease. I've been using this bike now for the last few days, training some big fast rides. My other bike is currently getting parts put on. So this was my training bike now the last few days. Got it all cleaned up, cleaned the wheels, took the wheels off, cleaned with soap the tires, the rims, in between the spokes. Not only does it make you look good, but feel good and just make sure that everything's good. You also want to check your tires for little nicks and pieces of glass. I know I took a piece of glass here, cleaned it out. Rub your hand over the surface carefully with a sponge, get some soap, and do all that. Wash your seats, wash your hoods, your bar tape. Just get it nice and good to go, and do it a few days before. This is not a day, the night of. Today's Monday. The first race is Friday, so I have all week to look at this bike and make sure it's all kosher. As you can see, obviously the chain's off right now, so get that organized. Go through, especially for waxed chains, when you reapply it, sometimes the wax can get built up between the links and it causes you to shift really poorly or have bad engagement with the rear cassette. So once you put on your freshly waxed chain, you want to make sure there's not wax in between the different cogs. So that's important. Brake pads, front and rear, check those. Check your bar tape, make sure your tape is nice and solid. And then the bolts that I am most worried about for racing and just general maintenance, obviously. So besides your wheel axles, which should be obvious, but you have two bolts at each brake caliper, so super important. So that's 4 bolts you need to check. On Shimano, you'll have these bolts, which keep your crank on. So there's 2 there. You have 4 bolts on the front of your stem. You have your top cap, and then your 2 pinch bolts back here. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts kind of in the stem area. You want to look. You should have 2 or 3 bolts in your seat and your seat post. So on the Tarmac SL7, we have this, which kind of is the whole up and down motion of the seat post, and then this, which handles the tilt and then the front to rear adjustability of the seat. So that's 2 more bolts you want to check out. Your derailleur, there's 2 bolts. There's the main one that connects your derailleur to your hanger, and then this is the derailleur hanger bolt. Pedals, each side, check those. Front derailleur, check those. Make sure these are all buttoned down. There's nothing worse than parts of your bike flying off when you're racing. So those are the main things I did to get my bike prepped. The most important thing is just getting yourself in the mindset, treating your equipment well, and you'll treat yourself well in the racing. One thing that is a little extreme, but I did because I haven't, I've had this bike apart a few times, was I actually took the fork mostly off, cleaned the bearing areas, made sure that I got all the sand and grit and grime that's been built up in here, and then re-greased both the top and the bottom bearing. The bottom one being the most important because a lot of stuff can get up in there, and so making sure there's a nice amount of grease in there to keep it clean and water out and grit out is important. So this is my cleaned up, just about ready to race once I get a new 12-speed connector, Tarmac SL7 Sport with mechanical 105 and CL2 wheels and Pirelli 32 RSs. Yeah, that's about it. Silica sealant. Make sure you chop off your sealant. And the only upgrade since you guys have last seen the video is a Dura-Ace 12-speed because I broke my 105 chainring on the airplane, which was really annoying. So now we have Dura-Ace. Thanks, Gary. Talk later. Bye.